In the past video, we introduced two things, the div, the generic tag, and then the ID, kind of a way to individualize a certain tag, to make it unique from all the others, so we can apply specific CSS to that thing and not other things. This video, we're going to finish up with just one more idea that's quite similar. We're going to talk about classes. So classes work like IDs, but the difference is an ID is unique. It is applied to only one thing, whereas classes can be applied to multiple things. Now, why would we use that? Let's go to our example here. These ones are all blue by default, and we gave special instructions to the second div and the sixth div. But let's say we want 3 and 4 to be the color purple. And we could do that already. You could go and make a ID for div 3 and an ID for div 4 and do the same thing we did in both these. You'd have like basically 2 more sections. But since they're the same color, we can kind of shortcut that with a class. A class can apply to multiple things. So if I want multiple things to be purple, I should use a class instead of an ID. An ID should only be used for if we're applying it to only one thing. Let's try it out. In the div, you can do space, and then similar to how we did ID, we'll do class. We'll give it a name. I'll call it purple class, or like purple text maybe is more descriptive. Again, this isn't a name here, so I'm not gonna call it third div or something. And so classes can be applied to multiple things, so I'm gonna copy this. And then here, space after div, I'm gonna paste it. So now both div 3 and div 4 have the specific classes. They are the purple text class. We gotta save our HTML, get that saved. But it's not gonna do anything by default. We actually have to describe to the CSS what to change. Let's go over here to our CSS, get a new line. With IDs, we use hashtag to indicate that's an ID. With classes, we use period. So this period indicates to our CSS file, hey, this thing is a class. And then you'll do the name purple text. So class of purple text, and then same syntax after that. Just gonna copy because I'm lazy, space, paste. Let's change this to purple. Okay. I've saved the CSS, I've saved the HTML. Let's run over here, click refresh. Okay, might be kind of hard to see, but these are both purple. And it's doing what we intended. And we've also halved the amount of code we need to do. If we'd done this with IDs, you would have had to do this twice. The last thing I'll show you with classes and IDs is that you can combine the two. So say we apply a class to div 3. That doesn't prevent us from doing an ID as well. We could do ID equals, let's just do third div, save it. Over here, we can just copy one of these sections, paste it, copy the third div, paste that. Now let's change its background color. I'm just gonna do like maybe aquamarine. Hopefully that'll show up. And save it. So what have I done? I've added an ID to div 3 to give it a specific instruction. So for this specific div 3, it will have aquamarine as a background. But it also has a class that gets the purple text. So if I save this and I run it, now you can see it has its own special background. So you can kind of see why we might want to use these in combination. For specific instructions, we'll use the ID. I didn't want all the purple divs to have a background. I only wanted div 3. But I did want multiple of these to have the purple background, in which case then I'll use a class. So a rule of thumb, if it applies to one thing, use an ID. If it can be applied to multiple things, use a class.